Hello traders, Jeff with optionboxer.com. Before I begin, I am not a registered financial advisor, and this video is not a recommendation for you to place any trade. Trading is risky and you can lose money. Okay, so what we're going to try to do is try to identify where the market may be headed next. It's about 9 p.m. Central Time on Sunday, getting ready to start the week, and it's kind of tough to identify where the market may be headed. You can see we've been range bound here for a number of weeks. It looks like dating back into late October after the sell-off in October. And so it's tough to know exactly what's going to happen next. I've heard this particular range bound movement referred to as a trader's market. I don't really understand why, other than the fact that volatility is elevated. So we'll start at the volatility chart, and we can see here that it is in fact elevated. But a couple of things worth noting is from the S&P chart that we just looked at, we could see price was at a support level. Well, here on volatility, or on the VIX futures, we can see that price is at a resistance level. So if that resistance level holds and the S&P support level holds, which is actually down here, so price still has a little more room to the downside right there where the line is at my cursor. If that support level holds, then we should get a bullish move here. That the MACD is moving higher, although price is moving lower, so we've got a divergence showing up. If it does breach this line here, let me draw some lines on the chart, just looking strictly at support and resistance. If it does breach this area here, we're probably looking at somewhere around here before we find support again, maybe up here. But you can see, dating back all the way to, looks like February of this year, a reasonable supporting case for why this level that it's at currently would hold, if that's somewhere around here before price stalls out again. So if tomorrow, if this market goes through the 2601 or the 2600 level, which is very possible, certainly no guarantees, but if it does go through there, I would look for the 25, 25, 25, 27, 25, 25 level as the next level of potential support. So that being said, let's see if we can identify a trade to make. Now, before I look at any potential trades, you should know volatility is high, so selling premium is probably your best bet, with the hope that, number one, you can collect more premium or get more bang for your buck, and then number two, you're hoping that volatility will come back down. And if looking at the VIX futures chart, if I can get the right one clicked, if this support level holds and volatility folds back down to, maybe the 16 level, you're going to really be in a pretty good spot, assuming the asset you trade doesn't go sky high or doesn't fall off the map. So that being said, I'm going to pause the video and we're going to see if we can find a couple of trades. Okay, so I scanned through just briefly and I found a couple of trades. I found one on Delta, and then I'll go ahead and just slide it in here for just a second, on one on Microsoft. Where I say one, I haven't looked at any potential trades. I just identified a chart that I think looks like could present a trading opportunity. Now again, you should do your own research. There is no guarantee of success for sure at any time in the market, but especially not in this market. So first thing I'm noticing here is, I'll go ahead and just draw my line like I do. That area there looks interesting to me. This area looks interesting to me. And then this area is interesting to me. Okay, so what I've got here is, you can see price has dipped down into this range. I think it was the 50% fib line, and you could probably look to get in here around 55 or so on Delta, and then price could move up as high as 57. If it reaches that level, it might go up to 58 or so. So could get a nice 3 or 4 point swing there if things go as planned. So we'll call this profit target 1. This upper yellow line or yellow box will be profit target number 2. This will be our entry zone, and then let's identify the next level we think would be a good area for a stop loss, and I think that's probably right in here where price got kind of choppy. That's also the halfway point of this candle, and I just think that looks like the most logical price level for our stop loss. I'll highlight through here as well so we can see it. So there's a lot of activity around this 53.50 level. It says 53.46, but we'll just call it 53.50. A lot of activity there, so I think that makes pretty good sense for this to be our stop loss level. Again, we're looking for price to pull back a little bit lower into here. You can see in overnight trading, the futures have pulled back. Well, 23 is a pretty considerable pullback, but given the volatility we're seeing in the market, that's not really that substantial. So I'm expecting a pullback somewhere into this area here, maybe around 55.20, 55 even. And I think that'll be a nice entry opportunity for us to get into the upside and try to collect a few points that way. So that's my logic there. And you can see we've got about a 53% chance that this is unsuccessful and a 46% chance that it does become successful at some point. Well, I've got to change this again. There we go, 46% there. So I think that's a realistic trade. Again, I'm going to try to get about $1.25. At least my pot odds will be 50-50. So that's a trade I'm looking at tomorrow. Let's go ahead and take a look at Microsoft. In fact, let me just pull it up here. You can see I've already got the fib lines drawn on. You can see Microsoft has got into a bit of a range bound situation, but given this, I mean, insane uptrend we've seen over the last 2 years, I just feel like there's a lot of steam for this thing. Now it could be running out of steam. There's definitely a cause for concern given the overall market and given kind of what we're seeing here, but it could be just a basing pattern before this thing continues its move higher. So the first level I want to identify, or that I think is interesting, would be somewhere around here. I think there's clicker would click. There we go. I just think price came down to this level, was support there, breached it very briefly, but that was mostly due to earnings, and pulled way higher the next day, came back down, it was support again, tried to breach it again, couldn't close below it, bounced off it again, support, breached it for a day, came back up to it, then it was acting as resistance, again resistance, couldn't stay lower, bounced back up, and now we've reached this area again. So I just think there's a lot of activity at this 23.6% line, or about 103.20. So if, again, I'm looking for price to pull back down into this kind of this buying zone, and then from there, the next level that I'm keeping an eye on, let's go ahead and draw in another fib line. So let's analyze this move higher. So you can see right in here would be the buying zone. It's right at this, on this move higher, it's right at this, so it's right at this 61% level, and so that could offer some support if it does breach through there. Again, I think this area around 102, 103 is the most realistic entry opportunity. If it breaks through that and doesn't hold there, then I would stay away from it. But I do think we're going to see a little bit of a pullback tomorrow in the overall market, and given that most stocks move with the overall market, I think this will we'll see some of the same. So the next level I'm looking for from there would be the next level that's interesting would be right there, and then the last level would be right in there somewhere. Okay, so let me remove these fib lines. So you can see if price pulls back into the 103.64 range, we'll just call it 104. If it pulls back into about 104, could get about a 2-point move into this next zone, which we'll call profit target number 1. If it was able to break through there, we're looking at about 107, which could be about a 4 or 5 point move from, well, about a 3-point move, I apologize. And so that's kind of what I'm thinking there. The next realistic stop loss, I think, is going to be kind of a tight stop loss, but we'll go ahead and draw it in for everyone to see, is right about here. I just think there was a lot of but let's analyze this trade. You got about a 66-67% probability of profit. Again, I'm hoping this thing will pull back just a bit. I'd really like to get this up to about 75. In order for that to happen, we're going to need price to pull back down to about this red line here. So we're going to need price to pull back to about 103.11, and that's at the bottom end of our kind of our identified buying range. So I think it's still a decent trade. And all right, if you have any questions, reach me at optionboxer.com. Thank you.